Let's get it. Hop off a 16 passenger. This a G5, no, this not a Challenger. Big one.
This is the Porsche 911 Turbo. This car is violent. This car woke up and it chose violence. It's not a street fight. No. This is a 1-inch punch to your throat. This is not a brawl after a nightclub. This is a precision guided missile. One of the fastest cars on the road, and actually arguably one of the most daily usable supercars on the road. So I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. Thanks to Porsche High Wycombe for letting me borrow this for a little bit. Obviously it's cold and it's a convertible, but you'll see. Let's have a look round the back. Nice ass, right? In here, stuffed underneath here, is a 3.7 litre 6-cylinder engine producing 570 brake horsepower. Doesn't sound like a lot when Ferraris have 700 and still faster than them. So even when Ferrari put a hybrid in, still faster. And this can get this car from 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds. Now, if you watch some of the tests online, and we're not going to do that because we're safe and it's icy as hell and with summer tires, 2.7 seconds is what Porsche say. It's been reported to do it in 2.5, 2.6. And the Turbo S, if you really want, even more violence, which is about 640 brake, that does it in about 2.3 to 2.4. You're at 60. In that period while you sat there, you're at 60 miles an hour. Absolutely crazy. Two big fans. I mean, look, it looks like a PC, with the old kind of fans on it, And actually, on the convertible, there seems to be a storage area here. I mean, I don't know if I kind of awkwardly want to put anything in there. Look at the size of these wheels. 315 by 30, 21 inches. I mean, they're massive. They're bigger than the size of my hand. Now, these contribute to the grip of this car, which is pretty sensational. All-wheel drive, which it has to be. You look at Ferraris and some of them, they're just rear-wheel drive and they're just all over the place. Silly. One thing I really hate, thanks Porsche, is Pirelli summer tires in England. We have 3 days of summer in this country, Porsche. You can use the weather app and check. These tires are absolute dog shit. I have them on mine and they're bordering on dangerous in the winter, especially on a day like today, which is most days in England. So thanks Porsche and Pirelli for that. I do like the center lock. Good luck getting that replaced if you ever have a puncture, because no one carries that £1,000 tool for that. But otherwise, nice beautiful alloys with a Porsche decal around it. So this car, when new, is about £200,000. Now, okay, it's a very grey spec, as you'll see, but I mean, park this next to a Ferrari or next to a McLaren, which is half the price, it just doesn't look like 200 grand. And that's because Porsches are very subtle. And if you know, you know, and it's for car people. You buy a Porsche for yourself, not for everyone else. But for 200 grand, I kind of want a bit more drama. I mean, look, some of the key differences from the Turbo to the Carrera: split indicators. You got two LEDs here. The vents are slightly different. This hasn't got the aero kit, so it does look a little bit less aggressive. Same size alloys, everything's the same so far. And then of course, the infamous turbo vent. Ooh, nice and warm in there. That is, the kind of classic thing that makes a turbo from when Porsche first started. The vents have got smaller and a bit more subtle, and you can get them painted in all sorts of colors. But that and the wing, that's kind of about the key differences in the Turbo. And for me, I don't know, my car is bright pink, so clearly I like, something a bit more interesting. I don't know, whilst it's super capable and it's incredible, and everyone says this, it's almost too good and almost too boring, which when we take it out on a drive, we'll see. Another thing, this shares suspension parts, helper springs, and also the exact same brakes with my GTS. So as much as it's a turbo and, great, you can tune my GTS with a couple of grand to have the same brake horsepower as this. So, but we won't do that because we like warranties. It's a really cool button on this key. Watch this. Et voila. That was pretty rapid, very German, very efficient, job done. I mean, this is one of the benefits of having a cabriolet, a convertible. However, as you can see by my attire, there's no need for this car in the UK, really, for the couple of days of summer. And one thing I really want to point out, Porsche, if you look here on the seats, there's no vent here, right? Every other car manufacturer, Mercedes, Mazda, everyone has an air scarf, right? Which blows hot air around your scarf region. This doesn't. So when I'm cruising, when it's 1 degree with the top down, which I do, because, I might as well use it, my neck is cold and my facial area is cold. I just think Porsche could have really thought about this a bit more. You put all this effort into this cute system and then you do that. If we look at the rear seats, you can you can really see, like, compared to mine, there's no room. I think there's slightly less room, but it does look really good with the top down. So this car is actually currently on sale for around £170,000. I'll put it up on the screen here. I mean, it might have sold by this time. Now this spec it's 50 shades of grey. For me, it's too boring, but it's really subtle. But at the same time, if you like subtle, it's still quite nice. It hasn't got a boring all black interior. You know, it's got some interesting features inside, and generally it's pretty well spec'd. So, you know, little things like having the side skirts painted in the exterior color. Yeah, you got to pay Porsche for that. Mirror bases in the exterior color. Yes, you have to pay Porsche for that. You know, Fiat 500s come with that done. The rear intakes in the body color. Yes, you got to pay. This is a common theme, isn't it, with Porsche? Otherwise, it's like black plastic because they can. Porsche LED courtesy lights when you open the door. Lovely. And one of my favorite features, if you come here, is this. I got this as a freebie from Porsche, thanks, but I would have paid £100 for it because every time you fill up, which in this car is quite often, it's nice to see that with a bit of German on it. Not as nice as Italian, but there we go. And these slat inlays on the rear, have a look at this. So the inlays, not the whole slat, because that's very plastic. The inlays are painted in gloss black. And that's what I mean. Although it's a bit of a boring spec for me, it does have some really nice touches on it. It's got PASM Sport suspension, so it's lowered by 10 mil. Front axle lift system, which I haven't actually had to use once in this car. I have used it in mine. We'll talk about the interior features in a second. It's got the sports exhaust system, which is still very muffled. Exclusive S design wheel, so from the Turbo S on this one, just to confuse them a little bit. Headlights are LED matrix headlights with the cornering, blah, blah, blah. Exclusive design headlights. Electric folding exterior mirrors. Wow, you can get a Kia for 10 grand that has that. But there we go, that's Porsche. Has the inner drive system, which is the bubble right there. Self-driving, but your hands have to stay on the wheel, so okay. It's got park assist, including surround view. So, you know, when it comes to spec, it's pretty good. Let's have a look inside. Oh, what a wonderful day to have the top down, hey? Oh, I feel like I'm in LA, except no, it's 4.5 degrees and icy in London. So, we are in this interior, speaking about the spec. Grey interior, slate grey. Now, in the light, it looks quite light. Now, I really wanted this slate grey with my white interior to kind of contrast it and not the black. However, with my pink, I think the black and white looks a lot better, although I do prefer the grey. Like I said, it's, you know, 50 shades of grey in here. Now it is, I think it's nice when you have a convertible to have an interior that kind of people want to look at, or that looks nice to the outside as well. And with the grey car, you know, Porsche really, even the fuse covers are grey. So I do like that, you know, when Porsche do an interior, every single thing is that color. BMW, Mercedes, there's always just black everywhere, just to save money and save cost. So in here we have the Bose sound system, which Bose have fallen off, you know. 20 years ago they were great. Now they're just trash. Headphones, everything. And this system is acceptable. It's acceptable. It's, you know, in a car that has road noise like this, you need the Burmester like in mine. However, most Porsche owners are really not going to complain about the Bose, and actually you can get it refitted aftermarket for a couple of grand. What's that to a Porsche owner? We also have non-contrast stitching, so normal kind of grey stitching. That's the first shade of grey. And actually a really interesting thing in here, you see this and this and a little inlay here. This is actually painted in agate or agate grey, which is the outside color, and you can get that done. Imagine mine bright pink in the interior. It'd be pretty cool actually, but that is obviously a paid optional extra. There's one thing in here that I absolutely adore, and I wish I had it. And in fact, I'm going to look aftermarket if I can get it. Instead of having a stupid second clock in the middle, because like, when do I take my car on a track and when am I racing? Like, you know what I mean? It's not an RS3, Cosy. I'm not doing that. This Porsche design clock, I mean, it could be prettier, it could be Breitling or, you know, whatever. This probably costs like 3 grand because it says Porsche on it, right? Stick Porsche on my forehead, it'll increase my price. It just looks so much better than the second clock that I have, because actually it's a clock and it's usable, and it does have a second clock in it anyway. And for me, that's a really classy feature. And I think, you know, maybe I've said this is boring, but I still think maybe it's classy. The engine note, which you can probably not even hear, it's like a vacuum cleaner. Because of regulations, it's not that great. With the top down, it does sound amazing, but a 3.7 litre 6-cylinder, it should sound a lot better than this. But unfortunately, regulations, if I owned this, it'd be putting a straight pipe on that straight away. Sorry, Greta, sorry, MOT testers, but you're getting a brown envelope because it's just gonna have a straight pipe, because it needs to sound good. And yeah, it does have the valves, kind of hear them on and off, but yeah. Also, you may have noticed I've put the system in Spanish, porque yo hablo español, y, you know, Bad Bunny's new album. So we're just celebrating Spanish in this car. So when I give it back to Porsche, I'm not going to tell them, let them deal with it. So here we are driving in sunny High Wycombe. Quite a bit of road noise, even with the wind deflector up, but that happens with Porsche's massive tyres, lack of insulation. Now we currently have the sports exhaust off, so I mean, you can't hear the engine. I can't hear it, you can't hear it. It's 1,000 revs, 6 gear, you know, it's cruising. It's, you know, it's gonna do a bit more than the 8 miles to the gallon that sometimes it gets in Sports Plus mode. Now, I think for me, this just highlights how good of a daily car this is, because, you know, you can cruise in it and leave it in normal mode. I mean, in fact, wet mode, it kind of increases the traction, decreases the throttle response, and makes it a bit calmer. So sometimes, you know, if you have someone who's not a good passenger and you just want to maybe go for like a super calm drive, put it in wet mode when it's not. Top tip, and it will just take the edge off it, you know. So on this next bit of road, I will show you what sports mode is like. Tyres are not too warm, but now you could see it was kind of wiggling. That's those stupid Pirellis. There's nothing else. If we were on Michelin Pilot Sport 4s, it would be straight down the road. But yeah, unfortunately, you know, Porsche don't seem to understand. I mean, it's cold in Germany, isn't it, as well? One thing you have to turn off on these roads is the lane keep assist, because it doesn't understand spirited driving. Let's drop down a gear. Now, as you can see, it's violent. When I said it's violent, it's violent. If we go down some turns, you don't want to be accelerating too much around turns with these Pirellis. Honestly, they're just not good. As the cameraman will attest to, sliding around everywhere. Now, you know what? When you get to it, it does sound nice. There's a nice turbo whoosh. There's a nice build up. There's a depth to it. Sounds deeper than a 6-cylinder. And also, when you come off the throttle like this, so if I come off, you can hear the kind of pops and crackles. Which if I put it into Sports Plus mode, you don't hear the pops and crackles. It's a lot more, it just kicks. So when I come off the throttle, it kicks, as opposed to burbling. So when you're in Mayfair, yeah, going to Novikov and you want to show off, right? You put it in sport mode. When you're actually, you know, giving it some welly, you put it in Sports Plus. Also the spoiler goes up. The front spoiler extends as well. Oh, here's another Porsche, we'll give him a flash. That was a nice Porsche actually. That was a GTS with aero kit. And we're going through a nice town, and I don't want to wake the town folk up. So what I'm going to do is put it in sport and drop a gear. Because I don't want to wake up the town folk. That's Asbo behavior. I do apologize to the Porsche community, because if you drive a Porsche, that's not how you drive, okay? So I do apologize to the Porsche community. I'm maybe more of a Lamborghini Ferrari type driver. It's a really nice little village. Cotswold. We're sort of in the Cotswolds actually. And when you're in sports mode, or when the exhaust is open, you can hear it's got a deeper kind of tone to it. For me, everyone says thanks around here, countryside life. When, you know, you have an engine like this, I still want a straight pipe. And I would never say this, but you just want to hear it more. And with the top down, obviously you can hear it more. And although I'm in my New York jacket, forget about it. I haven't got Timberlands on, but I'm in the New York jacket. Why is it a New York jacket? Figure it out. I don't need to be. I could very much be in my fleece, you know, I don't need to be in this. I could have taken it off, you know, because although it hasn't got an air scarf, the heating, the heated seats, the heated steering wheel, you know, we're good. Cameraman, are you warm?
I'm warm.
I mean, there we go. And he's wearing less layers than me, so, you know. Now, get back into some, you know, when it comes to the handling, I mean, apart from the tires, Porsche's steering is sublime. Whereas that chef on MasterChef says sublime for some reason, puts a W in it. it goes where you want it to. And I feel like it is slightly heavy for town driving, compared to a BMW X3 or something. And I think they could have, I know there's this Power Steering Plus, which no one ever options, but I don't know, I wonder if they could have made it lighter for city driving, which would have just made it more of a daily. Because it is very usable, yes. The frunk isn't that big, as my wife likes to tell me. But, you know, I mean, when am I carrying IKEA flat pack, really? Once a year? And you got delivery for that. If you own a Porsche, you can pay for delivery, right? Half a tank of fuel on delivery for IKEA, though. Yeah, the handling is really nice. And it just feels very sure-footed. Like you know, when I've driven McLarens, when I've driven my 6.2 litre Mercedes V8, there's a ditch in front of me now, and I just know that all it takes is 1% of me to fuck up and I'm in the ditch. And that's kind of the fun of those cars, you know? Fun, danger, whatever you want to call it. This doesn't have that danger, and I like that. And that's why I chose a 4 GTS, a 4-wheel drive GTS, because, you know, in England, you just want that extra bit of safety. And you do get it. You do feel the front wheels clawing sometimes out of turns. This is a lovely village. It's a lovely village. Freeth in High Wycombe. If you're from Freeth, you're probably not. You're probably over 18. You don't watch the YouTubes. Well, hello. And watch, I'm gonna put it in normal mode. Silence. I mean, like a VW Golf. Silence. Yeah, I mean, also VW, part sharing is a necessary evil, but having the same indicator stalk as a VW Tego, you're just embarrassing yourselves. Like, honestly, I get it, you save 10 pence a stick by producing them in the millions. Just fuck off. Just make nice sticks. Make nice stalks. Ferrari do it, McLaren do it. Why do you have to share it? Man pulls up to me next to the lights in a VW Polo, and he's got the same indicator stalks as me. I mean, you know, what do I have to do? Joke. Even Mercedes, the AMG GT has really nice indicator stalks. Now, I'm picking on little things, but my friends, wouldn't you if you spent 200 grand on a car? I think you would. This village is really lovely. And to be fair, this spec, the all grey, this is the kind of village that, you know, has those old signs. It's the kind of village that this car would actually suit. My bright pink thing wouldn't work here. This is a very much, oh, Jeff, yeah, he sold his cleaning business and, oh, this lane is too skinny. I'm going to do a U-turn because I do not want to take this hire car down the lane that is that skinny. Oh, Jeff sold his cleaning business and he bought a Porsche, you know. Yeah, it's a turbo. Didn't want the Turbo S, you know. I mean, he made enough money for it, but you know what he's like. Boring fella, but that's who buys this spec. Sorry if you're going to buy this spec. No, I'm messing with you. I think our village haunt is kind of finished because although this is not the widest of cars, you know, it is wide that I don't want to take it down there and get scratches on it. It doesn't have PPF either. It has a little patch that Porsche give you, like a sole patch on the side by the vent, which does absolutely nothing. Villagers are looking at me differently. Is it because the top down? Is it because I'm brown? Is it because there's a camera? Or is it all three? Leave a comment, let me know. And there is the, what is that? The village hall. Good old Union Jack there. Oh, and a church school. This is really nice. And I think the point of this is that actually, you know, you can kind of drive around in, especially in this spec, and just go away unnoticed. I mean, I was parked at the gym the other day in this, not my pink one, this, next to someone who had a Mercedes A35 AMG or something. And he was like, whoa. I could see him, I didn't say it was mine, I was just looking at it as I was working out, and he was just like, whoa. Took a picture of it, proper looking around it, everything. I thought, it's so great, so whatever. And I think for me, Porsches have a perception of not costing as much as they do, because they are, you know, they do cost what supercars cost, and they perform like supercars, but you know, pull up a Ferrari, pull up a Porsche, one is gonna get 1,000,000 times more attention no matter what the color of the car is. And for me, that's a criticism. But it's also not a criticism, because there needs to be a kind of supercar like this for people who really don't want that attention. And Porsche provides it, you know, Porsche absolutely provides it. Now, let's see if the tires are a bit more warmed up, because I wanna, yeah, let's get some downforce. It's, like I said, it's violent, you know, and that violence isn't, it's not diluted by the fact that it's steering crazy. It's not diluted by the fact that you think you're gonna kill yourself and everyone in the car. It's so precise that violence is so violent, you know, like I said in the intro of the video. Now, the real question for me is, would I, you know, given my GTS, which cost 167 new, and this cost about 190 new, would I exchange that, pay a bit more for a turbo? You know what? No. I, despite the issues it might bring, I think what I would do, and the reviewers don't tell you this, is I would tune my car, would remap it, and put a better exhaust on it for the tune of 5 or 6 grand, all in, and I would be happy with that. You know, I mean, do I like the spoiler on the back? I think if you're buying a Porsche, it is about subtlety, and whilst that's still subtle, I almost feel like I prefer the really nice svelte booty on mine, on the Carreras. Like, I don't like the aero kit either. And so I think for me, it's not that this isn't a better car or a faster car or whatever. It does have the exact same interior, which is something you have to think about. Like, you're paying the same money for the same interior. I get it, but at the same time, I kind of want more. But I just think that, you know, I prefer the look of the Carreras. I prefer that. If I'm going to do Porsche, a bright color, but it's going to be subtle in the body shape. And I don't care too much for the vent. So is it a faster car? Of course it is. Does it have a better engine sound? Yeah, slightly. Would I personally change for it? No, I wouldn't. You know, would I spend the extra 20 grand? No. If money was no object, you know, like Jeff, who sold his cleaning business, would I go for a Turbo S and just scare the shit out of myself every few days with launch control? Yeah, I probably would. Go on, Jeff, get the Turbo S, mate. Stop pissing around with the Carrera, you know, it's worth it. So that's my review, people. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you want to buy this car, link is in the bio. Go contact Porsche Wycombe. I've had a good experience with them so far. Had some issues with my car, they fixed it, they've been fixing it, they've been great. So yeah, and you know what? This is a beautiful car, but I'm really, really looking forward to having my pink car back, because there's nothing like a pink Porsche. You know, there's nothing like a pink Porsche.